any degree of readability or actually, ability to actually, garner some information from it. But, take from it what you will. It's just a map where Protoss players sometimes have a hard time securing and defending their third. And since there's just those two main attack paths down the center of the map, oftentimes we see Zergs able to kind of split up the map more, take a lot of bases, and just continuously deny Protoss expansions. So, of course, if you are at close air, sometimes Protoss is going to have a lot easier of a time because they can not only abuse more Stargate openers, but also have that pylon over at the corner so they can warp in right into their, right directly towards their opponent's base. But let's jump in. I want to see if maybe I know the scoreboard was unfortunately like in the wrong order, and I didn't want to show the wrong score, so I just left it at 0-0. I know that's still the wrong score, but at least it wasn't showing that we were at something else there. But I'll see if it's correct here. Let's jump right in, and please, pardon me having XSplit visible because I just want to make sure I get this overlay properly set up here. Okay, good. Now it's set to 2-1. Excellent. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here it is, Game 4 on Metalopolis between EG.HuK in the 2 o'clock position here as our green Zerg against his opponent in the 8 o'clock position, HuK as our red Protoss. So we're on cross positions. We'll see how HuK's going to deal with that. I mean, one of the other things that makes this map hard is that the natural is just so wide open. Like, what map nowadays do you see with a natural this wide open? None. None ever, because it's just kind of become one of those things that, back when the game first started, they didn't know, like, which races needed the choke points and what type of balance was needed, that kind of stuff. But nowadays you really see more bases that really have like this size of a choke point, maybe like this size max. But this choke point is so ridiculously wide open, it just makes it quite hard to defend against early all-ins from Zerg. So we'll see if EG.HuK tries to go for something like that. Because some type of early roach all-in is just one of those maps where some maps, like, you can get away with like one cannon early on, then maybe 2 or 3 to deal with a roach all-in. But on this map, you're going to need like 2 at least early on, into like 3 or 4 to deal with some type of all-in like that. HuK and the scout out of his opponent last year. Wow, I'm surprised EG.HuK actually even checked close air there. That. Oh, okay. Yeah. What am I saying? Yeah, it's not cross only, so yeah, he is going to check that, of course. That makes sense. What am I saying? And we're going to see a pull first. Not even going to check to see if the probe's there or not. And this has just become, as I've said, more and more common in this matchup. Zerg players don't want to take that risk of trying to go for the hatchery and then just getting it blocked. So just go for that pull first. Play out standard. Try to get the hatchery up as soon as possible. After that, of course. Best of 5. That's what it is, HuK. I'm sorry I can't tell you in a replay what it is. Comical. Some probe micro coming in here from HuK, just trying to disrupt the mining of EG.HuK, of course. Very characteristic move from him. And whoa! A Nexus first against a pool first. Now, granted, that's something you see a lot on maps like Daybreak, on maps like Shakira's Plateau, because you can then wall yourself fully off if the Zerglings come running. But on this map, with it being so wide open, the natural, this is a bit of a risky move. If EG.HuK doesn't scout it, we'll probably see him, only make those 4 lings and not really do anything about it. But this is one of those things where it's like if the Zerg drone scouted you and saw you doing this, and saw that your Nexus was first and your cannon's going to be that late, and you're not going to be able to just wall yourself off in an emergency, sometimes they just make like 8 lings and just run them straight up into your main base. And that can be a pretty devastating moment. So a bit of a risk there by HuK, but of course, yet again, he knows that that's not a style that EG.HuK almost ever utilizes. Not only does he not go for early ling aggression, but he also just doesn't drone scout that often in this matchup. So we'll see when the double gas gets thrown down here from HuK. Seems he really likes that timing. Yeah, a little bit earlier than we saw from that last time, so we'll get a little bit better from what we, that's more of a usual timing that we see before that 4-minute mark. And of course, double queens are on the way here from EG.HuK. We'll see if he adds on any extra to get some sick creep spread, if he's just going to stay on 2 for a while. Looks like HuK, is he going to set up, I think he just does the Swallow Dark 4, just going to put a Zealot right here if he needs, or Probe. And then, units can run around this back area, but it's quite a long distance to run, so things would have to, like, walk around the corner if they didn't want to get hit by that cannon to get in. Could be a little bit hard to pull off, so EG.HuK not going to go for that. Just going to leave these lings out so he can scout out, make sure his opponent's not going to go for anything too crazy. Now, 3 hatch before gas is going to come up from EG.HuK, pretty much the most standard build to do nowadays in this matchup, which is pretty bizarre, because it's like a somewhat risky build, but it gets more and more figured out. It's kind of funny, though, it gets more and more figured out on both sides. Zergs are figuring out more and more and being able to defend effectively with it, even against Protoss all-ins. But Protosses are starting to get more and more in tune with what timings this is, really weak to. So things like really, really fast +1 4-gate Zealot, Void Ray with +1 Zealots as well has been extremely effective against this type of build. And we see that HuK's already sending out an early Zealot to be aggressive here, so that not only forces maybe some extra lings, look at that, 8 lings being made here from EG.HuK instead of those drones, forces extra lings, which will in turn delay his tech later on, of course delay his economy later on, and also get him some scouting information. Gotta figure out what his opponent's going for. The Stalker going to try to pick off this Overlord, we'll see if that's able to escape or not. And we do have +1 started from HuK, still just on 2 gas, not chronoing Warp Gate, or there we go. So he's just going to chrono +1. So might indeed try to go for some type of +1 timing to deny this third. We'll see. Though the problem is these lings have completely avoided the Zealot, and they're just checking for forward pylons. They're checking for probes, and that's exactly what you need to do. If you can just prevent any forward pylons from getting set up, there's not much you can do with this type of a strategy. You know, from HuK's perspective, unless you have those forward pylons. At the very least, you're going to need like one right here. But he actually hasn't even sent out a probe, so maybe he's just trying to fake. Maybe he's like showing +1 and showing a Zealot and Stalker moving out just to make EG.HuK make more lings and be a little more afraid, and he's not actually going to go for an attack at all. But no, that is not true at all. He's definitely going to be going for the attack. Look at that, going back up to 7 gate yet again here. Oh my god, going up to 8 gate. Oh, HuK. You know, this is an excellent way to deal with this build. If the Zerg doesn't see it coming, it's one of those builds where if that Overlord, for example, had, like, all the little things add up, because if HuK hadn't found that Overlord, and the Overlord would be able to go into the main base and see this coming, you know, EG.HuK would be able to just get a ton of units out, probably some spines in each base as well, and defend against it pretty effectively. Instead, since he doesn't see it coming, it's one of those builds that's just, it's a lot more effective. So, you actually see him adding on the Twilight as well, so maybe instead of going for just an 8 gate attack really quickly, he's instead going to go for like a +2 blink 8 gate. I'm pretty surprised he threw down that many gateways that early on. Unfortunately, Twilight Council just a couple seconds late for +2. Not the biggest of deals, but you do want to get that upgrade timing as quickly as possible. Can be quite important. Lair halfway done here from EG.HuK. Still no Evo chamber. Oh, excuse me, there it is. He does have an Evo chamber, so he's set. You always gotta add an Evo chamber when you're doing this build, because it's so common for Protoss players to add on a Stargate or DT to try to deal with it. Need those spores to be set up. Ling's going to try to scout out here. They're going to see, look at that. They see the Twilight being chronoed, they see the Forge being chronoed, and they see some extra gateways. All of a sudden, even though EG.HuK doesn't know about the extra gateways, he knows it's going to be a blink +2 a time. Like, what else would this be? He can click on the units and see they already have +1, so when you see the Forge spinning, it's like, oh, okay. You see the Twilight Council upgrading, you can actually tell if it's upgrading, it's not a fake chrono, because the lights go up a little bit quicker. So he knows. He knows +2 blink is on the way. What's his reaction going to be? Well, the problem is you can't just like throw up a bunch of spines here, then the Protoss is going to go attacking you natural. So he's just making tons and tons of roaches right now. Unfortunately, getting a little bit close to supply block, but not quite getting supply block. Yeah, there we go. Just for a moment. He's pretty much on top of it. Roach speed about halfway done, but will it be done in time? Can really help against this. But generally against this build, you want to either get out Infestors or Burrow or Hydras, or like some combination. So to only have roaches without Burrow, you're going to get really abused by force field. Generally, that's why you want Burrow to be able to just, oh, you don't have an observer with this build, ever. So, you come attack me, oh, Burrow, unburrow, over and over, kill off the sentries. Looks like we're going to just see a Ling counterattack perhaps here, but there is a Zealot blocking off. That just means fewer units are going to be here to defend against this attack, though. Well, these Stalkers got to be careful. You can't just have your Stalkers out in front and lose them before the sentries and Zealots get there. Nice, he does save those, though. Uh-oh, this is a dangerous position, though, but critically, HuK only has 6 sentries. They don't have that much energy. Force field's going down. EG.HuK does get in there with a lot of his roaches, though. Ling's over on the side. Excellent. Surrounding some of the stock reinforcements. That is just a perfect move. And he's going to be able to pick off absolutely everything here from HuK. This is just a devastating position. If you go 8 gate, and you go blink, and you throw away 6 sentries and all those stalkers, I hate to call it GG, but like, that's kind of just a game-losing moment. You know the Zerg has a 3-base economy. They're going to be able to set up double gas. They can expand again if they want. They still have an army, let alone, rebuilding, which is what, you have to do from the Protoss perspective when this happens. It would take just the biggest of miracles for HuK to pull this off. And you know what? That sucks for him because he's down 1-2 right now. So this could secure a 3-1 victory here from EG.HuK. Something a lot of people were not expecting and not predicting, simply due to his uncomfortability in this matchup lately. So, can he really start moving forward, doing a lot of aggression onto these Stalkers, but they do blink back? I mean, there's just not much here from HuK. He just doesn't have any units. 5 Stalkers are on the way, but it's still just so few, and the Roaches are starting to stream in. They're at 0-0, though, plus 1 care bus about to complete, so 0-0 gets +2 Stalkers. You do have to be careful that you don't just kind of get overrun. With Blink Stalkers, if you get enough of them up, sometimes you can just it can get to this point where things spiral out of control for a Zerg, and if you get enough Blink Stalkers and you don't really have the tech to deal with it as a Zerg player, they can just continuously blink, and with an upgrade advantage, they can even beat units like Hydras. Like if you have +2 and your opponent is 0-0, Blink Stalkers can beat Hydras good micro, especially if you have like +3. So HuK not out of this game, but I mean, IdrA should be able to secure this victory. I'm shocked he's not increasing his tech. He's still just going Mass Roach again. Oh, he does have a Spire, but hasn't decided to actually, make any mutas. Obviously not going to make Corruptors unless he actually saw like some Colossus coming out that just wouldn't make any sense. There we go. 6 mutas are on the way. That's definitely going to help. An excellent way to deal with this. If you have a lot of Blink Stalkers coming forward, their mobility is great against mutas, but they're still going to have to stay at home. It's not like Phoenix mobility. Like, you can't move out and be aggressive and try to go attack the third with Blink Stalkers and then, oh look, mutas came into my main, I'll blink back. No, it doesn't work that way. So mutas are a great way to keep the Protoss at bay, keep them defending at home as opposed to attacking you. And unfortunately the third from HuK just a little bit undefended. His army just a little bit out of position. These Roaches just in a target fire and get out of there. Excellent move just to cancel. Delaying that Protoss third is such a huge deal. You really need that gas coming up to be able to deal with mutas effectively. And the timing of the third is so unbelievably crucial when you're fighting against mutas, because if you can get that third up and running before mutas pop out and you already get cannons set up, you're golden. You already have the defense you need. But if the third gets delayed and you have no cannons set up and the mutas come in, it's like, uh-oh. Now you're gonna have to use your Stalkers for defense against the mutas in your main. Then the third's not gonna be defended with cannons. The Roach is gonna be able to run up and target fire it. That's exactly what we see IdrA setting up to do. In fact, the mutas coming in the main here. Stalkers being warped in, but now plenty of probes are gonna go down before. Just a little bit of damage there. 10 worker kills total. We're looking at 75 drones to 56 probes at the moment. He's going to send his Roaches in the third. HuK, too smart though, does leave the rest of his army there. He knows this tactic inside and out. Gold is being taken here from IdrA. Not at all a bad move on this map. We'll like to see him hold this Alaga tower though. That seems extremely risky to not be holding that all game long. Uh-oh, Zerg and counterattack though. Coming in the main. There's no wall off continued here for HuK. Oh, but there are Stalkers here. The mutas are going to come in though, and these Zerglings are going to add so much utility here. They do have that +1 Carapace. So that +2 attack from HuK not quite doing as much to them. Now after taking out the Stalkers, look at that, he pulls the Stalkers out of position, the Roaches go up into the third, these Sentries, oh no, the Sentry's getting picked up, Force Fields do go down, nice, excellent Force Fields, does manage to finally stop those Roaches from coming in, so he's not going to lose his third, he did lose the Sentry, but overall, good crisis managed there from HuK, was able to not really take too much damage, and this is certainly looking like one of those situations, like on Daybreak, where it's like, well, he's way behind, but is IdrA actually to maybe let him come back into this game if he turtles effectively enough? It's certainly possible. It's absolutely possible here. +2 Carapace is done, then we see +2 flyer attacks and +1 melee attacks on the way, so IdrA continuing his upgrades, whereas since HuK lost his Forge and did not rebuild it, I don't think... Oh, he did rebuild it. Doesn't have any continued upgrades coming in though. Uh-oh, Muta's coming in. There is a Colossus out, and it's going to get sniped instantly. One attack off. Oh, that hurts. Only have one attack before it dies. Lings and Roaches coming in. Great Force Fields will be enough. Oh no, the Stalkers actually blink out of the Force Fields into all of the Lings, of course, and now everything at the third is going to be taken out. There's no chance, although a lot of Stalker reinforcements are arriving. Will it be enough for HuK to hold this off? That's a lot of Roaches and Mutas. Lings, unfortunately, not helping out, though. You really want those Lings helping out with your engagement. But it looks like it's just going to be too much. There's the GG, and wow. A relatively quick match there, although we had some pretty long, decent macro games littered in the center there. A relatively quick match, and look at that. IdrA takes a 3-1 victory over his teammate HuK. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but we haven't seen HuK's most evil genius video yet. It's just starting to look like he might indeed be the most evil genius. Played quite well in that series. Definitely looked. I mean, there were some moments. We definitely had some. I'm not gonna lie here. We had some moments of some patchiness where IdrA had a huge advantage. It almost looked like, whoa, is he actually going to throw away this huge advantage, But clearly it seems like he's playing quite a lot more solidly in this matchup than we have been seeing from him lately. So it's always good to see and refreshing. We'll be moving into our next match. We're just going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to get started with In Control against Machine. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with that match in just a moment.